And of course, that's going to help our team win. And if we don't win, he may not be our medicine man much longer. So, a lot rides on these games.
That took a lot of coordination.
And so the game was, the score.
And carry with them many cultural beliefs, from the ancient Greeks believing these were creatures of knowledge and wisdom, to many cultures believing their messenger. He is a screech owl. Now the screech owls are really misnamed because they don't really screech. Actually, they have a beautiful call that sounds like a wavering whistle, and it kind of goes like this. Now poor Mr. Alfred got hit by a car. Now he's pretty amazing. He survived a car crash, but he does have...
Bob is a barn owl. He doesn't know he's such. He is now 11 years old. He was hatched in captivity and hand-raised by a woman, so he really likes Dale. Well, so do I.
It's so cute. Hello, Mr. Alfred.
We cannot let him go. It's called a human imprint. If we let these human imprinted birds go, problems come up. Sometimes a bird like Bob gets released, it simply will not hunt. What happens then, it'll seek out what it considers to be its parents, humans, to feed it. It might land near someone. Go and scoot back this way just a little bit, we'll walk over to you. And it'll land near someone or on someone, expecting to be fed, get itself hurt or killed or hurt someone. Sometimes a bird like Bob will catch his own food. Then you have a problem when it's time for this bird to find a mate. It does not look for a bird like itself to be its mate. No, it looks for a human to be its mate. Most of the time, that doesn't work out very well. Most states, it's illegal. White owl, they're white underneath. Screech owl, unlike the little screech owl there, they do make a screeching sound. Ghost owl, that's my favorite name for it. They're white underneath. In flight, barn owls are also buoyant. They tend to float or bob along. Sometimes this bird is in the air. It'll emit a very eerie sound like that. They do occasionally hunt around cemeteries. Imagine yourself around a cemetery at night. There's a white thing bobbing along going, you might think you're seeing a ghost. This is a very beneficial species to humans. Most of its diet consists of rodents, otherwise they'll eat our food supply. Owls are very well designed to do their jobs, that's hunt at night. They all share many common characteristics that make them excellent nighttime predators. Well, that bird shows highly developed sense of sense of hearing. Something I want you to do, look at the person.
Barred owl gets its name for the barred, like feather pattern it has across his chest. Now, Mr. Tebow doesn't like to walk around, as John mentioned, so we're going to put him right on this perch here. Now, unfortunately, Tebow fell out of his nest tree when he was very young, impacted on his left wing, so he can fly, but not well enough in order to hunt for himself in the wild. Now, how many of you live in a wooded area near water? A wooded area near water. Okay, great. If you live in a wooded area near water, I bet you have a barn owl.
Okay. Yeah. I guess someone that takes care of young owls would be a food nanny.
Food nanny. Okay, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we get
We'll be here all day.
We'll be here tomorrow too. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see if we can hop back up here. Okay. There we go. Two hoot owls around here. Great horned owl looks like a giant screech owl like Alfred. This is their courtship time. If you have great horned owls around you, they're very vocal right now. Even though the female is larger, her voice is higher. So if you hear these great horned owls calling.
Well, I'd like to introduce you to a bird that is very significant in the Native American culture. In fact, this bird is the most popular bird of prey and very successful bird of prey. It's one that can be found from Maine to Mexico to Alaska. They live in heavily wooded areas, open fields, and all points in between. And they're very closely related to the golden eagle. And much like the golden eagle, they're incredibly powerful in the wild. Now, this is Cody, and Cody is aptly called a red-tailed hawk. Now, the red-tailed hawk gets its name for that beautiful brick red tail it has. As a youngster, its tail is actually grayish-brown. Takes this bird anywhere from a year to a year and a half to grow its brick red tail. Now these birds are so successful because they're hardy. They can withstand great temperature extremes, from the very cold of the north to the great heat of the desert. Go weeks without ever eating one bite of food. And they're opportunistic. They'll eat whatever they can find, such as rodents, reptiles, insects, birds, and sometimes even dead animals. Now you oftentimes see, I don't see one soaring right now, but way, way, way up there, these birds like to soar in circular fashion. They're simply riding warm air currents called thermals. They'll take these thermals thousands of feet up in the air, and that's a great way to get around without using a whole lot of energy. Now, birds of prey, as I mentioned, have powerful feet. Cody's feet aren't big, but boy, does he have a grip. I can feel him squeezing my glove right now. About 500 pounds per square inch of pressure. Your average human, only 80 pounds per square inch of pressure. So their ability to grip is far greater than our own. Now, red-tailed hawks do share their habitat with a variety of other birds of prey, including eagles, and also they like to hang out in wooded areas, open fields. A lot of times you'll see them perched on telephone poles as they're driving around. But here's one bird that they may occasionally cross paths with, a Harris's hawk. Now this is a bird you're not going to find around here, and if you do, it's really lost. This bird is found in New Mexico, the desert southwest of Arizona, New Mexico, down in the Central and South America. These birds do something that no other raptor species does. They hunt in packs like wolves. In fact, they're called the wolves of the air. Don, you want to tell them all about Zeke?
All right, I thought you were going to continue that. Zeke is now 15 years old. He was hatched in captivity. The first 10 years of his life, he was a falconer's bird. He used to hunt other animals. However, at the age of 10, the falcon decided to retire him. He wanted to go somewhere to be used in education. Fellows saw our show that year at Rock City, and after the show offered him to us, so here he is. Now, as Dale mentioned, this bird is found in the desert areas. And when you think of the desert, many things come to mind. Of course, it can be very hot. It can be cold at times. Food's hard to find. Water's scarce. Everything you tend to perch on is prickly. These birds have overcome this difficult environment through cooperation. Pairs of hawks, pairs of eagles sometimes hunt together. These birds are more akin to wolves in that they hunt in groups of 5 to 10 birds. Get past the speaker here. There's an advantage of that group hunting in that harsh environment. There are a lot of eyes out there looking for food. Now, if prey is caught by one in the group, it's shared among the entire group. They do an interesting behavior. They suspect prey in vegetation like cactus and mesquite bushes. Half of the group they'll go in as a group, half land up high. Others go in on foot, attempting to scare out anything birds waiting up high can capture. Once again, whatever is captured is shared by the entire group. They also do an interesting behavior called stacking. You think of the desert, think of the prickly perching. A lot of times the first bird that lands on a cactus, 5 or 6 birds will perch on its back, like a can of Pringles. Now these birds are all looking in different directions. If prey is spotted by one, once again a signal is given. A flick of the tail, a vocalization. That brings the entire group into focus and they all take off together. Now we fly this bird a lot in our presentations. However, in this situation, we're not really sure what. We know there's a red-tailed hawk around here. So in order to be safe, what we're going to do, we're going to fly him on a line here so he doesn't fly away from us, because we have another bird in just a moment. And Dale's going to help me here in just a moment. Now he's a lightweight bird.
Because of their cooperative nature, a lot of falconers use them, an age-old sport where people hunt with birds of prey. I was a falconer for about 10 years, and I flew with 2 Harris's hawks and 2 Jack Russell Terriers at the same time. The dogs would flush out the prey, and the birds would go after it. And what we found is that the dogs and the birds work in cooperation with one another, and that was really an incredible sight to see. Now, hopefully, Mr. Zeke will be in the mood to fly here for us. Okay, let's go ahead and put
He's
this
just
out.
going to be flying out here in front of us here.
Yeah.
And I'll switch places with you.
Okay, here we go.
Dale, hang on just a moment. Let me come over here and
Okay.
get this line, just in case he decides he wants to fly in the other direction.
Now, when we train our birds, we use positive reinforcement, much like you give your dog a treat for sitting. That's exactly what we do. In this case, the treat is a little piece of mouse. Anybody want some? Got plenty right here. Well, mice are very nourishing to birds of prey. They eat a lot of them in the wild. One reason they're so incredibly healthful.
By the way, Mice are one of the secret ingredients in hot dogs. Not the ones here, not the natives. Here we go. We'll go one more time with them here.
Oops. Sonny's gonna fly back to the perch. Obviously not.
That's why I'm here with the lion.
Hey, check out Zeke's tail. Nice tail, huh? Tails are really cool on birds, but they're super important. As Zeke flies, watch what he does with his tail. They use their tails to turn a maneuver, and they also use their tails to slow down. So without a tail, he'd be in big trouble. It'd be hard to get around.
They can still fly.
They can still fly, but
Maneuvering's a little
might
different.
run into stuff. Okay, you ready, Zeke? Let's do one more flight. Whoops. All right, let's make it a long one. Ready? Good job, buddy. Woohoo! All right, let's give Zeke a big hand for flying for us today.
Thank you so much.
All right, now, we're just gonna take a couple seconds. I'll go ahead and push him up if you'll introduce us. Yes, let me do. I'll go ahead and put him up, but we'll just kind of talk about something. Put him up, and then we're gonna bring out this next bird. All right. Come on over here, Casey girl. After she attacks John, there we go. All right, Casey did it. Now, she does think she's human, so she cannot take care of herself in the wild. Now, Casey is a little funny looking. Well, that's called pecking order, folks. I mentioned she's human imprinted. She thinks she's above us in the pecking order, so I have to tend to agree with her. Now, she is a little funny looking with that bare head.
Oh, okay.
Well, bare heads and vultures go together quite well. Why, if you had to stick your head in a dead animal, you'd want a fairly low maintenance tube. Now, those bare heads are very easy to keep clean, and guess what? Who would have thought vultures are clean animals? After they eat, they take a bath. And what bacteria survives the rinse cycle is then later killed by the ultraviolet rays of the sun, which penetrate their bare heads. Now, Casey, you might have noticed, has some broad wings. These birds like to soar too. In fact, those soar and rising warm air called thermals, and they'll take these thermals thousands of feet up in the air, just like the red-tailed hawk. Now, you'll notice that Casey has whitish-looking legs. Vultures do something rather curious to keep their bodies cool. They tinkle on their legs. And the earaches actually cool their body down. John does that in the summertime too, don't you, John? Now, here we go. Woohoo! Exactly what that is. All right. Now, when she flies, as I mentioned, look underneath her. Whoopsie, sorry. Bad pause. Look underneath their wings. You will see the white feathers. A lot of times you'll see black vultures and turkey vultures soaring together. Turkey vultures have a lot more silver spray beneath their wings. Now, Casey's a smarty pants. She learned how to fly back and forth like this in 2 days. Took all of her other birds at least 6 weeks to figure this out. All right, let's do a nice long one, Casey. All right. Woohoo! Good job, Casey girl. Now, a lot of people think that vultures are birds that have a good sense of smell. Not true. They have a very poor sense of smell, including the black vulture. However, their cousin has an incredible sense of smell, the turkey vulture, and that actually helps the black vulture locate their food. One more thing. Look at Casey running around on the ground. Our other birds can't do that. That's because their feet are more chicken-like or turkey-like more for walking around. They spend a lot of time on the ground and basically eat dead animals. But here's the problem. Vultures' feet are very weak. They don't provide any protection. Most raptors use their incredibly powerful feet to protect themselves. That's not an option for the vulture. So nature has a good sense of humor and gave the vulture an incredible way to protect itself, something we refer to as projectile vomiting. A potential attacker gets too close, no problem, they puke in the attacker's face. Their vomit is so gross, believe me, I know, that after getting a face load of this, the attacker will usually run away and puke as well. So do keep that in mind if you get too close to a vulture. Casey did a fantastic job. Let's give her a big hand for coming out here today. Come on, let's do it, girl. I just want to leave. I can't believe she's having a good time. All right.
All right, so don't go any further out this way. Vultures, along with birds, Casey is 21. So they'll get her back into her travel panel here. There we go. Very different about outside.
Well, you'll notice that's actually a 36-year-old male bald eagle who was shot in the wild 34 years ago. Sadly, his left wing was so severely damaged, it required removal just to save his life. Now, it's illegal to kill any bird of prey in the wild, with serious penalties for anyone harming a bald eagle. Now, where does the bald eagle get its name? It's obviously not bald, but back when they were named, bald actually meant white-headed. And it takes this bird about 5 years to grow its white head and tail. Prior to this, they're all brownish in coloration. Now, anybody live near water? Okay? Well, if you live near water, there's a very good chance you may have a bald eagle living near you. Bald eagles love water because they eat lots of fish. They also eat water birds, reptiles, mammals, and sometimes even dead animals. Now, Otz is a small fella. He was found in Florida, and the further north you go, the larger bald eagles become. In fact, some males can weigh as much as 15 pounds. Otz weighs 6 pounds, so you can imagine how big they become. Now, these birds are great at catching fish because their bodies are specially designed to help them do so. They have spicules on the bottom of their feet that help them hold on to slippery fish, big fat beaks that help them eat the fish, and eyesight that helps them look right through the water. Now, the bald eagle mates for life. They only choose another mate if that mate should die. Select a nesting site and return to it each year, adding sticks and other material till their nests become massive, sometimes weighing over 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. Laying up to 3 eggs every year, usually only one makes it to see the second spring. Now, the bald eagle is doing fantastic now. Bald eagles are seen all over this area. Anywhere you see a lake, you usually see a bald eagle. But back in the 70s, they were in big trouble. That was due to a pesticide called DDT. It caused them to produce thin-shelled eggs that would crack beneath their weight. But we banned that pesticide in the 70s, and ever since then, the bald eagle has returned. Well, it just goes to show us if we can help the bald eagle, we can do some amazing things for our extraordinary planet. Jonathan Day and a great weekend. If you'd like more about Wings of Soar, there's brochures over here. We do travel and do programs all over the place. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I looked you up in Rock City. I said, it is, it is.
Osceola passed away about 3 years ago. He was 41 years old.
When you said that this one was 35, I was thinking, because that's when we first saw you probably 34 years ago in Dollywood.
Yeah. It'll be your first show, so that first show was like,